Democrats. Today is Wednesday, July 20th, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Life. Happy Wednesday. So I'm continuing my tack to try to introduce you to as many candidates as I can, as often as I can, so that you can get to know our candidates. But before I do that, I have to get up on my soapbox. And so today's soapbox issue is, it's important for me to remind you that it's not enough to vote for the issue you care about. Because if another person talks to me about how excited they are that recreational marijuana is going to be on the ballot, I'm going to scream. No shade on recreational marijuana, but it has to be more than just that. You cannot vote for a thing and not vote for, and then let people get elected who are going to destroy the systems that support the thing. It's that simple. You have to. It's a whole thing, and we saw this happen last night. When the House voted for the Defense of Marriage Act. Can't get it. Oof. The Defense of Marriage Act. I'm sorry, my screen is doing crazy things. Where all of the Oklahoma representation that cared to vote, because it wasn't everybody, all of the representation from Oklahoma who cared to vote voted against protecting same-sex marriage. Same-sex marriage is a thing. We all know and love folks who are in same-sex marriages. What would unraveling that do to their lives, to their ability to own homes together, their ability to get health care, all of these things? You can't just look at one little thing, one little sliver. You have to vote for the whole thing. And if we continue to send people to DC who are okay with just upending the lives of Oklahomans, we're going to keep getting stuff like this. Thank goodness enough Republicans signed on with the Democrats and passed the Defense of Marriage Act last night. But this is just another example of how the folks that we have in DC are not the folks that Oklahoma needs in DC. So along those lines, I have invited one candidate who is running to represent us in DC out of Congressional District 5, which is Oklahoma County, Seminole County, Pottawatomie County, Lincoln County, Logan County, and Canadian County. It's all kind of in the middle of the state. So join me in welcoming Joshua Harris Till.
Hey, Alicia. Only parts of Lincoln, Logan, and Canadian, of course, because gerrymandering, right?
So talk a little bit about how Congressional District 5 went from being all of Oklahoma County, all of Pottawatomie County, all of Seminole County, to all this mishmash of pieces of counties.
So even when it was, even before the redistricting, we didn't have all of Oklahoma County. If we had all of Oklahoma County, we would honestly be able to have a congressional district that is just Oklahoma County. But if we did something like that, too many Democrats would get elected. And so they wanted to get rid of it. What they did to make this map work, we have to have a certain population set in it. And in their attempt to gerrymander the district, they took out the South Side, which is predominantly our Hispanic communities, and to replace all of the people that they had in just southern Oklahoma City, they had to add in most of Lincoln County, half or so of Logan County. We go up to Guthrie, we got Langston in there, and then we have part of Canadian County, but just a slither. We got Yukon, we got Piedmont, but we don't go all the way down to El Reno.
So it's a very careful little calculation to try and make sure that seat stays represented by Republicans?
100%. What they realized with Kendra Horn's victory is that they were going to have to take some serious action to make sure that seat stays Republican, because there's a Democratic trend happening in Oklahoma City and the surrounding areas. We know we live in a red state, but when you actually look at the percentage points, there's about a 7 percentage point shift to the left towards Democrats that give this district the kind of representation that we've been seeing, and that makes it winnable. The benefit for us that I tell people all the time is that Republicans are bad at everything, including gerrymandering. And so they based a lot of this information off of performance instead of demographics. We know performance changes from year to year, election cycle to election cycle. Demographics don't. If you're Black today, you will most likely be Black 2 years from now, according to research.
So research you've done on your own?
It's something I've been looking at for a number of years now. But what we know is that here's a great example of that. In 2016, Democrats lost to Republicans by 75,000 votes in the new 5th district lines that we currently have. In 2020, we lost by 60,000 votes because I let you know we have that Democratic trend happening. In 2018, Democrats lost to Republicans by 700 votes in the new 5th district. And so that switch, that hard change from 75,000 to 700 to 60,000 shows us that in the midterms, because they're bad at what they do, we still got a very clear shot at victory this year.
So what I hear you saying is that they are a little bit afraid of the fierce Democratic opponent.
They are a little bit afraid of the fierce Dem opponent who supposedly has connections to Nancy Pelosi and the mega millionaires who have given us millions and millions of dollars to flip this seat back. We're gonna merch that, or just wait. There's gonna be a T-shirt, fierce Democratic opponent, that we'll use. It's crazy that, we kind of get that email and we see that Stephanie Bice is using this language, but as much as she may have just assumed it would be a talking point for her, we know that it's real because we're looking at the numbers and we're having the conversations within the district with people, and they aren't talking about how they love her representation. They aren't talking about all of the bills that she's passed. They aren't talking about how she's at the forefront of any movement. Even the folks who support her don't necessarily believe that she's accomplished much in this seat. And we deserve real representation. And if you can't get it done in DC, you need to come back and get it done in the district. And she's not doing that. She's not showing up in the district either. I ask everybody, have you been to a Stephanie Bice town hall? And I usually get crickets in response to that. So we have to make sure that we got some good representation. That's one of the main reasons I'm running.
So tell me why you? Why now? Tell me who are you, Joshua Harris Teal?
It's a funny question because I've been on this live with you so many times. But for those of you who don't know, my name is Joshua Harris Teal. I've been working in Democratic Party politics for the last decade professionally. I've sat on the Central Committee for the Oklahoma Democratic Party since 2017. I have made it all the way up to the pinnacle of being a DNC member, an executive committee member, a national party officer. I was even a super delegate once that title stopped actually meaning anything. They gave it to me anyway. I got none of the perks, but I still got to claim that title. And with that, I worked very intently with congressional members from across the country. As the national president of Young Democrats of America, we build relationships with members of Congress. And so I think that I'm uniquely suited that when I take this position, I'm not a true freshman starting from ground zero. I have relationships in Congress, folks that I can call and talk to and push legislation so we don't have to wait for freshman year to be over before we start talking about making real changes. But we can do that on day one. I'm excited about that. I'm working with these folks now. I'm having conversations. We're planning on bringing a couple of them to the district. I think one of the best ways to kind of excite our base is to let people in this district know that other people are paying attention and they believe that we have a real shot at winning. And so the way that we do that is to make sure that we're connected, we're talking about the right things, we're on message, we're getting people excited, we're letting folks know that their vote matters. Young people, you have a candidate. Minority folks, you have a candidate. Moderates, you have a candidate. Progressives, you have a candidate. Conservatives, you might not like me as much, but we will always be able to have a conversation. And so I want to let them know that they have a candidate too. This is about making sure that the district is properly represented, and you can't do that. You can't represent the district if you're not in the district. I've been in the district. I've been doing the work for a number of years on a number of different topics. And I'm excited about the opportunity of going to DC, working there, but also bringing whatever resources I can bring back back to the district while we're still in office, not waiting until the next election cycle, but doing it while we're still in office. I think we have a real opportunity to highlight some of the issues. You do a great job on this live, right? Highlighting issues that aren't necessarily front page news, informing folks of stuff that they may not know about. Wouldn't it be so much better? And wouldn't that message go so much further if you had a congressional member who was standing beside you every time you talked about these things? Like
Well, this is why I get excited. You know, we had Kendra Horn in that seat from 18 to 20, and we kind of felt like we knew what was happening. Yeah. Every time I looked up across my Facebook feed, Congresswoman Horn was at this event and at this event and holding this town hall. And I don't live in Congressional District 5, but if I saw it when the last congressperson was there, I'm amazed that I'm not seeing anything from the current congressperson. You live there. Do you see stuff?
No. Well, and I think it's fundamentally about representation. When Kendra got elected, she wanted to represent the entire district. When Stephanie Bice got elected, she wanted to represent whatever Stephanie Bice represented at the time. And now that seems to be Donald Trump, even though he's not the president anymore. We get a lot of talking points about that. We get a lot of, I'm fighting against Nancy Pelosi, but we see her voting against gas caps. We see her voting against the baby formula shortage. We see her voting against the Amber Alert system for school shootings. We see her voting against the school shooting reform that we got after Uvalde. Like, we have her being against a whole lot of stuff. We don't really have her standing up for anything. And that's the unfortunate reality of people who become hyper partisan. They care more about their party than they care about the people. And we oftentimes see that on one side of the aisle as opposed to the other.
Okay. So don't forget that she voted against capping insulin prices.
That as well. And so so it feels like the Oklahoma delegation has decided to be the party of opposition. It's unfortunate that is the case, but it is. When you get to DC, and a lot of people, may not understand this because they haven't been this pulled into the world. There are people up there who tell you, this is how you're going to vote. This is what you're going to do. This is what's required of you. And if you don't do what we say, then we're not going to support you in your reelection. And you could go up there with the best of intentions, but if they hit you with that and you care about being in that office more than you care about representing people, then you will easily give into that. And I think that's unfortunately what we saw. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm going to DC to work hard to get whatever we can, but that while I'm there, I'm bringing it back. I did the same thing when I was the president of Young Dems. We had more guests here. We had people showing up to our lives. We were doing fundraisers with national figures, because that's what I feel like my job is now, and it'll be my job afterwards. We got to build the party. We can't not support the party. We can't have a weak party. We can't have an ineffective party and think that we're going to win all of the seats. If we're not donating to the party, then the party doesn't have money. If we're not showing up to volunteer for the party, then the party doesn't have people. We have to start showing up for the party so the party can show up for these candidates so we can start winning these seats back. And that's one of the things. You were there when I made the promise to our friends, I think Custer County. Mm-hmm. If I'm elected, one of the first thing I'm doing is going to Custer County, and we're holding a fundraiser to prepare them to run for office, because it's party building that we have to do in order for us to be successful. That's what I'm focused on doing, not just sitting in Washington and arguing with people over the same things we've been arguing over, but actually creating effective and tangible results the whole time I'm in office.
Okay, so I have two big questions for you. So the current congressperson has said that you have millions and millions of dollars. What I usually do when I invite a candidate on here is I want folks to learn who the candidates are and know who the candidates are and figure out how they can help the candidates. And I usually get on here and I beg for people to donate to the candidate. But if you have millions and millions of dollars,
if we have millions and millions of dollars, then we need millions and millions more. Madam Chairwoman, and that's not for my campaign, but that's for the party. The more money I get, the more money the party gets. We unfortunately don't have millions and millions of dollars. This is a grassroots campaign. And I have a ton of amazing young Dems and other Dems from the party who have been helping me with this. And we have been carpooling places together. We've been paying folks in pizza and food because, you know, if you work for me, the least I can do is feed you. But I got a lot of energy and a lot of young people who are super excited about the opportunity of having real representation. The money we're getting in now is starting to show results. We don't have to do everything ourselves anymore. We're actually able to hire people. We are here in the office. As you can see, I will give you a tour. We're looking at doing a grand opening for the office, but we're going to have people stationed here. We're going to have people doing call time out of here. We're going to have the signs ready for you to pick up from here, but we're going to make this this is centrally located right off of Classen. There are snacks. Where's there you go. I got snacks. You know what I mean? If you come to the office, you get snacks. You volunteer for me. The least we can do is feed you. We're from the South, right? And that's what my mama always taught me. If somebody come do some work for you, you got to feed them. But as money's coming in, we need more. We need tons of money. The Republicans always have really well-funded campaigns. I want to raise as much money as possible, at least $2.5 million, because that money makes sure that down ballot races are actually able to be invested in by my campaign. The media buys for getting commercials and ads is like $1 million by itself. It's not a huge priority to me, but it's something that we definitely need to do to increase name recognition. But until we get there, I need each and every one of you telling everybody you know, because word of mouth is going to spread this campaign even further than commercials could. So as we're raising money, we're not close to millions and millions, but I'm hopeful by November we have millions and millions. And then, you know, the party's got millions, because if I got millions, you got millions, Alicia.
Well, we want millions. And so if you want to help Joshua, please go out to his website, jhtforcongress.com. Sign up to volunteer. I am sure that he can find tons of things that you can help him with to help get the word out. And there's a donate button. Donate to help him get to his millions and millions. That is what happens. That is what happens is if a party is strong and the candidates are strong, and even the IEs, if they're strong, that's how we get Democrats elected. It requires for all of us to get up and actually do something. It requires all of us to get up and do something. So before I leave, I got a quick question for you, Joshua. Where are you going to be tonight? Because I'm telling people that their homework has been for the last 2 weeks, get out there and meet the candidates. Where are you going to be tonight?
You know, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, there is a karaoke night that is being hosted by the Oklahoma Democratic Party. When I say that the party needs money, this is one of those opportunities to give the party money, but to do so in an extremely fun way. I think I'm actually emceeing the event. I just found out today. So you'll hear a lot from me this evening. I'll be hyping up not only myself, this is a lie, okay? I'll be hyping up not only myself, but the other candidates as well. It's only $10 to get in. There are table sponsorships for $60, but you need to be there. We're going to have a great time. We need to kind of celebrate something in life because we've been dealing with so many negative things. This is my personal favorite form of self-care is singing. And I am the karaoke king, and I will not ever not be the karaoke king. And I challenge each and every one of these candidates who have been talking smack on Facebook to show up tonight so they can back it up, because it's going to be a really, really good time. And we're going to find out that some of our candidates are really good singers, and we're going to find out that some of them are not.
So I think it'll be fun. It's an opportunity for you to let your hair down while helping the party. There will be candidates there, and I bet they'll tell you how you can help them financially, but you'll get to know them. You'll get to know them because I think it's important that the names on your ballot aren't letters combined together, that they're people that you actually know. And here's an opportunity to join some candidates. I know of at least 3 candidates going to be there. I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but it's tonight at VZD on Western. Go have a good time. Thank you, Joshua, for joining me.
We also have we've donated some auction items. So there'll be an auction happening there as well. We got some pretty amazing things. I think we got some kayaks. I think we got an air fryer. And we got like this really big, nice pasta maker. We got some wine baskets, different stuff like that. So don't just bring $10 to get in. Bring a couple of dollars, or bring a check, or bring whatever mobile form you want to pay with, so we can make sure that we raise even more money for the party. And I mean, since there's candidates there, you can just bring checks for the candidates too. You know what I mean? Just if you're feeling very giving, this is a great opportunity to do that.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. And thank you guys for joining me. And I'll be back here tomorrow at 4:15. Have a good one.